I'm going to ask our responders up here, panelists, to kind of keep your answers as concise and pointed as possible, and we might be able to get a couple of questions or comments in. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you. Vivian Damas, University of Guam. This question is for Mr. Lamarena. Can you give an example of one MOU that's been negotiated between the government of Guam and the military to address the issues that have been raised here today, that have come directly out of the CMTF process? I asked the question because at a forum last spring, a similar one to this, where the issue of public safety was being discussed, I asked you the same question, and at that time you said that no memorandum of understanding had yet been negotiated around the issue of public safety. And I would like to invite you to give us an update. Has any memorandum of understanding been negotiated? And if not, why not? And if we can't, how can we talk about a partnership for planning?
Good point. As of this date, I am not aware of any MOUs that we have signed, the government of Guam has signed with the military concerning various interests insofar as public safety or even the environment. There have been situations where there have been partnering meetings. I know that the environmental subcommittee and the natural resource subcommittee have been in constant partnership for the last several years, together with our federal counterparts, the U.S. EPA, Fish, Wildlife, and so forth, together with the military as we develop these strategies. And there was a public safety partnering group that was put together last year. I believe they only met once, and I think I believe our public safety people can bring that up in their panel. Right. They're more yes. aware of those issues and concerns that were addressed there. But she brings up a good point. There have been no MOUs to this point. Even when we first started the CMTF, a lot of the data that we collected were data that we had to extrapolate from other data that was available to us, not specific to the Guam buildup, but what has happened in other jurisdictions. So it's been trying at best.
Okay, Dr. Hattori, real quick, please.
I think in earlier presentations there was a breakdown of the GovGuam budget, and one of the things that struck me was that 2 of the 3 lowest categories were public health and community services. There's a lot of attention being paid to the port and the roads, etc. But we need to also pay attention to the human suffering that's going on out there, because you know, how safe are the people who are benefiting from this? You know, they can build bigger and bigger fences around their house, but if the rest of the community is suffering, we are all going to be affected by this, no matter how rich you get in this development.
Very good point. We have time, I think, for one last question, and I want to remind everyone that if you have a comment or a question, we do have some comment cards on the tables. Please feel free to fill those in. They also will become part of the record. Our staff out there will pick those up. We'll bring them back. They will be posted on the website, and your voice will be heard. Please, sir.
Hi, yes, Jason Okada. I'm a sociology and communication student with the University of Guam. I just want to highlight something that President Underwood did say, that we do need a foster dialogue. We need to bring many voices and evidence together to handle these issues. And also Congresswoman Berdali also mentioned that as UOG students, we need to be agents of change. My question is, where are the UOG students here to start talking about the things that are going to be impacting us as the future leaders of this island?
Oh, great. Anybody want to take that on? Okay.
Thank you, Jathan. I'm familiar with Jathan because we worked on a project in spring semester, actually in May, that was titled Reclaim Guahan. And really it was a rally that was organized around an effort to motivate our youth to get involved about the varying issues that affect us. The militarism is one, self-determination issues. I mean, there's a laundry list of different issues that affect us. And so, Jathan, I don't know how you found your way into this room, because even myself as faculty had a struggle, but I'm glad you're here, and we will bring this. We have an event that we're planning next weekend, and so you'll be hearing from it through the listserv, and so that's our attempt of continuing to engage our youth.
Okay, Dr. Hattori.
Last year I gave a presentation at the Tourism Summit for high school students and middle school students, and at that time Rita Nauta, I think she's here, I saw her running around. She conducted a survey of these kids, I guess ages about 12 to 16, asking them their opinion of the buildup. No one's really asked kids their opinion. She was really struck at how many of them expressed concern. Said things like, you know, I haven't seen my father in a year, and my godfather's gone, and, you know, my friend's cousin died, and the roads are so crowded, and, you know, will there be jobs for me except for McDonald's and Kmart? And I think that the question, it's an important one for us because the youth are very easy to marginalize, especially when they don't have voting rights yet. And we assume, you know, we're making decisions for their benefit, but, you know, I mean, we've got to find ways. It's important, but the youth are also very easy to ignore. Yeah. So, and also, sometimes there's a perceived apathy among the youth, but I always fall back on education. Once they start to learn the issues and understand that this is their lives, if they want to live here, if they want to raise their children here, this is what they are going to have to deal with, and they need to have some courage to get involved and not simply pass the buck on to the legislature all the time. So, you know, it's two-sided, it's very complicated, right? How do you empower youth? That's the challenge for the educators.
All right, Debbie, you've got a quick comment on that? We're going to have to close it.
I think that we as parents and as the community leaders have an obligation to ensure that the youth are brought into the discussions. I think that Lisa and many others have made this quite feasible. We have a strong core group of young leaders that are doing an amazing job in reaching out to other youth and getting them to understand and know what's going on. We have a mass mailing list you would not believe, and many of the requests to be added on come from the young adults. So a little bit at a time, Jason, is how we do it, a little bit at a time.
Okay, 15 seconds. Tag you.
By the way, your communications major?
Yes.
Great radio voice.
Okay. Quickly.
Yeah, and you're right. You know, the youth have to take a lead as they move forward because really this is your future. Come 2015, when the military finally takes ground on Guam and you start to see the Marines move here, people who are middle school students will be in the workforce. People who you will now be paying mortgages. You will now be having to pay a power bill, and you need to take an interest in what's going on insofar as this military buildup. I have spoken to several youth groups talking about the military buildup, and I always encourage them to take an active role in what's going to be happening because this is your future. This is your island. As a matter of fact, I'm sorry, I missed your name.
Jason.
Jason? Jayton. All the civilian military task force are open to the public. Give me a call and encourage your classmates to participate in the process.
Okay, thank you very much.
One last question.
Oh, very short, very sweet. We're eating into
Yes,
everybody's lunch.
and Clifford, you brought up the point that I'm going to bring up. About 20 years ago, the people of Guam, through a democratically approved process of mutual consent on any major decisions affecting the island, was approved. I feel that much of what has been done by the government of Guam has been in contravention to this. We have not taken the seat to protect our human environment. The Chamorros are going to be minoritized by this 25% increase in population in a very short time. And there will be a very harmful power imbalance between the United States and Guam as a non-self-governing territory. I think we should implement this democratically approved process by our people in 1987. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to our panel here.